G'day everyone and welcome to Singapore, where we're about to start our journey home on board a Singapore Airlines A350 in premium economy. The check-in process at Changi is as smooth as ever, with premium economy having its own dedicated section with 3 desks, all of which were completely empty around 3 hours before our flight departs. From there, it's a swift walk through immigration to the airside section of Changi's Terminal 3, where we make our way to Singapore's Gold Lounge. Now, it's worth noting that Singapore's premium economy tickets do not include lounge access. Rather, we have access due to my Velocity Platinum status, so keep that in mind if you choose to book this product. The KrisFlyer Gold Lounge is one of 2 Singapore Airlines lounges in Terminal 3. This one is specifically for status holders of Singapore and their partner airlines flying economy and premium economy, while the Silver Kris Business Lounge next door is dedicated to those actually flying business class and select elite status holders. Despite being somewhat the lower tier lounge, I actually really like this lounge. It's quite spacious. There are several seating areas depending on your mood, and it has the same great tarmac views as the Silver Kris Lounge next door. There is a large buffet area with hot and cold food, as well as a self-serve bar and a handful of shower suites. To ensure it has some kind of difference to the Silver Kris Lounge, the Gold Lounge does not have a manned bar or barista station, nor does it have champagne available. After a quick breakfast, it was time to make the long walk to gate A17. By the time we'd arrived, all the remaining passengers were waiting to board via the economy lanes, so we pulled the status card and skipped the queue via the business class boarding lane, again, not included with the ticket. Once on board, we got our first view of the premium economy cabin, which is laid out in a 2-4-2 configuration. We had chosen seats 31A and C, which are the extra legroom seats at the front, which I paid a whopping 128 Australian dollars per person to secure. Not necessarily because they are extra legroom, but because they were the only remaining seats in sets of 2 by the windows, rather than being stuck in the middle in a row of 4, which I think in the end was money well spent. After settling in, hot towels were distributed to the cabin, but this is the extent of the pre-departure service. No pre-flight champagne here. The towels were also not retrieved by the cabin crew until after takeoff. This is probably a good time to have a look at the seat. I'm 6'1" and the legroom is just okay. In front of you in the bulkhead seat is a jam-packed pocket, including a water bottle and the IFE screen mounted above it with a pretty unusable USB charging point. To my left is a small drinks tray. The annoying IFE remote is under that, and the tray table folds out of this side, which is a pretty reasonable size, but you have absolutely no option of moving in your seat once it's folded out and there is food on it. On the right, there is a small storage pocket that really only fits a phone and the recline and footrest control buttons. One of the things jammed into the storage pocket is noise-cancelling headphones, which I believe are the same ones you get in business class, and they connect to the port between the 2 seats, where there is also a USB power point. Behind your head is an adjustable headrest that is pretty reasonable, and a reading light each between the seats. There are 2 universal power outlets between the seats and a small fold-out leg rest, which is really only useful if your feet don't touch the ground when you're in the seat. At its fullest extension, it barely even touched the back of my legs while seated. Shortly after takeoff, once the hot towels were collected, a service of drinks and nuts began. We went for the Singapore Sling, which in premium economy is a pre-made cocktail in a plastic cup. Delicious nonetheless. Before the main service starts, let's have a quick look through the menu. It includes the food section for both the Singapore to Melbourne and the return leg, as well as a pretty great selection of wines and other drinks. One big perk of Singapore's premium economy is that it allows you to access their Book the Cook menu option, which shows you the onboard menu ahead of time, but also gives you the option to select a different meal before the flight, which, if you're flying out of Changi, gives you dozens of options and something I absolutely recommend. Since we had booked the cook, our meals came out first, along with the special meal orders. The meals were served on a single tray like in economy, but they are served on a tablecloth in ceramic plates with metal cutlery, so it does feel a step above what you'd expect in regular economy. I went for the char siu wonton mee, which is my absolute favorite in Singapore Airlines' business class, and it was honestly the exact same meal, but served in a far less elegant way, which is expected. On the window seat, Joanna went for the fried carrot cake, which is regarded as a must-have in Singapore business. The meal is accompanied by a prosciutto salad, a bread roll with butter, and a coconut pandan sponge cake, which was incredible, as well as a side bowl with cheese and crackers, a small chocolate, and some milk for your tea, plus a wet wipe. The only downside to receiving our meals early is that the drink service didn't start until after they had served the rest of the cabin their meals, which was well after we had finished eating. Plus then it took more time for the crew to come around and clear our tables. But then all that was left to do was get another can of Tiger, hit the recline button, and enjoy what was actually a really comfortable seat. One thing I did like was how high the TV screen is on the wall compared to if it were on the back of the seat in front of you. This way, when you're fully reclined and looking up on an angle, you can still see it rather than having to crane your neck forwards. There is Wi-Fi on board the aircraft, which is free for first and business passengers, as well as KrisFlyer members. This sometimes tricks people into thinking that you have to have your KrisFlyer number linked to the booking rather than your Velocity number or your other partner membership. But actually, you just need to have a KrisFlyer number. When you try and log on mid-flight, you just enter your KrisFlyer account details. It will verify that you are a member and send you a code to enter, which gives you access. It was pretty patchy, but when it worked, the speed was great. About an hour and a half out of Melbourne, we were served our refreshment, which was either a mushroom or a pesto pizza, which was perfectly acceptable. It definitely felt more on the economy side, served in a soggy cardboard box. So in the end, what do I think? Well, it's definitely not cheap business class, but I would say it's better than economy. Good enough to be more than twice the price sometimes, debatable. The seat is significantly wider, which is great. Being 242 where regular economy is 333 is nicer in the row of two, but I'd say it would actually be less comfortable if you end up having to share a row of 4. The biggest annoyance I had, which is pretty niche, was the placement of the in-flight entertainment remote down next to your leg, meaning that whenever you moved, your leg would press something on the screen, pausing or cancelling your movie, making you struggle to take it out again past the tray table, reset it, and then replace it without bumping the screen again. Oddly specific, but very annoying. For a daytime flight in the same time zone where I'm not trying to get a good night's sleep, I'm actually more than happy to fly this. It's comfortable enough for the 8-hour flight, the food is fantastic. I was happy to take my own entertainment as the screen was a little bit small, but from what I remember of long-haul economy class, this is definitely better. Having lounge access myself probably helped, but again, that's not included in the ticket. So, do you think the price is justifiable? Per person, we paid 52,000 Velocity points plus $237 in taxes, as well as the $128 for the extra legroom seat, which came out at 2.36 cents per point in value for the nearly $1,600 flight. Let me know in the comments if you've taken Singapore Airlines' premium economy before, or if you're thinking of taking it, ask a question in the comments and I'll try and help you out. Until next time, see you at the pointy end.